Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our March edition of the FCPS1 Family Webinars. As we come to the end of March and our celebration of Disability Awareness Month, tonight's topic focuses on special education in Fauquier County Public Schools. It will cover a general overview and goal of special education, the process and available resources and programs for our students and families. My name is Chrissy Yonke, and I am the Family and Community Engagement Coordinator for Fauquier County Public Schools. But before we introduce our guests, our special guests tonight, I'm going to ask Carol, our Family Engagement Translator, to make an announcement to any families that may need language support this evening and go over how the webinar will work this evening. Carol, will you unmute and share your information?
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carol Zuhars. I'm one of the 6 interpreters that support Fauquier County Public Schools. Buenas tardes, me llamo Carol Zuhars. Soy una de las intérpretes aquí en el condado de Fauquier. Estoy aquí para ayudarles. Si necesitan algún tipo de ayuda o asistencia lingüística en español, indíquenlo en la parte de arriba en una sección que se intitula QEA o sea preguntas y respuestas. Gracias.
Thank you. This evening on our webinar, you are free to use the Q&A to ask any questions you may have as you are listening to our presenters. Lisa Stafford, our tech support this evening, and myself will be monitoring the Q&A, and we will share your questions throughout the presentation. Most likely we will answer them at the end of the presentation if we are able. Please understand our presenters can only answer questions that are general regarding special education tonight. If you have specific questions related to your school or your child, we ask that you reach out to your school and your school's administration team. Please understand the majority of our speakers are volunteering their time tonight from their homes, and they're doing the best they can. If they have children or they have pets running around, they do volunteer their time. So just please understand, if you see a pet or a child or you hear a sound, they are at their homes. Please also understand that this webinar is recorded and it will be translated in Spanish, and it will be shared out with our community in our division newsletters and our website in the very near future, and any resources that are provided in the presentation or are mentioned will also be included in the website and as well as on our newsletters. All right, so without further ado, let's introduce our speakers, and we'll go right into our presentation. When I say your name, if you could say your name and introduce yourselves. Donna?
Hi, I'm Donna Guzman. I am the Student Services Supervisor for the county.
And we have Amanda.
Hi, Amanda Hazelhurst. I'm a special education teacher at Auburn Middle School.
And I did introduce Lisa. She's our tech support for tonight. And then we have Angie.
Hi, everyone. Angie Gum, Director of Special Education.
Perfect. And you all already met Carol. And so what we're going to begin to do is share the presentation, and Angie is going to take over.
All right, everyone. I'm just going to give you some basics of special education. Special education is an educational approach designed to support students with diverse learning needs. Students with disabilities have equal access to education, and it encompasses a range of services tailored to meet the individual requirements of students who may experience physical, cognitive, emotional, or developmental challenges. The goal of special education, there's a couple bullet points here, is to provide students with equal opportunities to succeed academically and socially, fostering independence and self-advocacy. Educational plans, such as an individual education program, IEPs, in the United States are carefully crafted with input from the entire team, meaning educators, parents, and specialists to ensure that each student receives the appropriate resources and accommodations per their IEP. Special education strives to create an inclusive environment where all students can thrive, promoting diversity and acceptance within the broader educational community. Here in Fauquier County Public Schools, we have a variety of special education supports, including programs for various needs when the supports within the base school are not the least restrictive environment for a student. If you suspect your child may have a disability or has an IEP and there is a concern, please reach out to the administrator at your child's school. So we were talking about reaching out to your child's school. The first point of contact, if your child already has an IEP and you have a concern, you would reach out, or I'm sorry, take back what I just said. Your first point of contact, if you have concerns, you would reach out to your classroom teacher. You can discuss concerns and ask for insights into classroom performance and suggestions for resolutions. Your second point of contact, this would be if your child already has an IEP, would be the IEP case manager. You could discuss your child's IEP goals and progress, collaborate on how to address those concerns discussed with the teacher. If you need to take things to the next level, there's a third point of contact, which is a special education department chair. At the high school and middle school, there is a designated special education department chair that is not an administrator. If you're at the elementary level, this person would be your assistant principal. They would be their oversight for special education. At this level, you can discuss questions about policies, current curriculum, available resources, and just seek guidance. There's a flow chart here that just talks about, there's a lot of information on here. I'm not going to read it word by word, but this flow chart illustrates special education process from evaluation through eligibility. You would start at the top in the first text box and follow the arrows to guide you through the different phases of the process. So everyone would start in the top box, and then based on the information from there. So for example, it says the school evaluation team has 65 business days to complete evaluations and to hold an eligibility meeting. Timeline begins when the referral to special education is made. You receive special education procedural safeguards. So it would go one of two ways. I'm going to go to the box on the right, and it said, if you do not give consent to evaluate, the process stops. You can revoke consent at any time through written contact. So that would stop the entire process. If you're looking towards the left, that would give you your evaluation team, and it'll list all team members that could be there. Going to the next box, evaluation conducted, and it gives you some of the typical assessments that would be done through an eligibility process. And then the box moves to your right. Your administrator will notify you to schedule an eligibility meeting. FCPS may conduct special education meetings virtually or in person. Some members may participate virtually, even for in-person meetings. Next box continues to evaluation results, and it walks through that. The next box tells you eligibility meeting. And then from there, you've got two sides. So at the bottom, if you're on the left, it's telling you that your child is eligible for special education. Now, what the next process would be writing an IEP. If you're on the right side, it would mean that your child was not eligible for special education, and it walks you through the pieces there as well. So it's a lot of information on there. It's a lot to absorb. If at any time you're going through this process and you have concerns, please feel free to reach out to the administration at your building.
So I'm just going to share some resources that are available to support students and their families. So Fauquier County has an excellent resource center, and Dean Spar is our point of contact for that. He's also our transition specialist for the county. And the PRC's mission is to provide parents the support and information they need as they work with the school system to identify and meet their child's unique learning needs. A wide gamut of different resources. And I'd really encourage you to check out the Fauquier County, their main website. And if you go toward the left side, there'll be, well, the top banner, there's a bar that says departments. And if you click on that, and then on the left side, it says special education. And that will lead you to the Parent Resource Center. And there's lots of resources there, but all the contact information. And I know Mrs. Yonke is going to be sending out that information with the webinar later. But they can definitely provide guidance and just with the process for special education, any step from early childhood through transition to be able to support our families and help pair community resources. Additionally, with that, I would encourage you, your school social worker can also provide supports with filling out federal waivers. And those federal waivers can provide support to students with more cognitive disabilities. And sometimes that process can be, a little bit, can feel intimidating, right? If you're not used to doing that and haven't navigated that process. So our families have shared that has been very beneficial for them, and your school social worker can help you with that. And if you're not sure who your school social worker is, you can reach out to the administrators and they can put you right in contact with them. Another resource in Fauquier County is our Special Education Advisory Committee. And so the SEAC is composed of, we have a teacher rep, there are parents throughout the community that serve on that committee, and they are charged with advising the school board. It's not to create policy, but we take information from parents. Hopefully they come to and give public comment. And then we advise, advocate, and offer guidance to the school board. Mrs. Gum attends those meetings. We often have a school board member present, other members from the special education team that supports in various roles throughout the county. And they come and they give presentations on issues that are relevant to our community. A lot of times that's based on feedback that we receive from parents. This year we've had presentations on assistive technology. We've had presentations on instructional assistance, the reading programs and different curriculum that the county offers. At our last meeting, Ms. Gum actually presented and talked about the inclusive plan and just the budget, the special education budget. So our upcoming meetings are in April and May, where the SEAC will be composing the annual report. And that's a report that we present to the school board with recommendations that we think would be beneficial to our special education community. So anyone is welcome to attend those meetings. If referring back to the county website, there is a tab there right under the Parent Resource Center to the Special Education Advisory Committee. All the contact information is available there, as well as the meeting schedule. And those meetings also this year are now, you may live stream them. So that link is available there as well. And then Parent Educational Advocacy Training Center, so PETSI, if you may have heard that acronym. And this is just a really amazing organization. And they provide tools and information to families in Virginia, students birth through transition, so age 26, and military families, Latino families, they have all different programming. And one of the best parts about this is it's free, all of the webinars. And one of the great things that came out of COVID was we started doing a lot of things virtual, and they saw that the response was so great, and they were serving more families that way. So they've continued that. So a lot of the trainings are now webinars, and you're able to access that online. But that is a really phenomenal resource, and they have a local office right here in Warrenton near Walker Drive, and their contact information is there as well. But I encourage you to check out their website because it's pretty phenomenal. All right, so I got to talk a little bit about the resources, but this is what I'm most excited to kind of come and share about because I think it's pretty cool. In Fauquier County, we have a pretty strong unified program. That's through the Special Olympics. And all of our high schools, all 3 high schools have a unified club. Falcon Heroes, Fauquier High School, KR Unified, Kettle Run, and Champions Together is Liberty High School. And a few years ago, some of the middle schools started, they're seeing the traction and the impact. And so we were inspired by that. So we started partnering with those high schools, and we have clubs in the majority of our middle schools now. So we have an Auburn Unified, Junior Champions Together is Cedar Lee Middle School, and Unified Pack is Marshall. And what is so great about this, and you see these pictures, and many of these events are from things where we have crossed paths together. So we kind of all get to come together for different activities, but bowling, bocce, swimming, several of the schools teamed in. We did the playing pool at the airport this year, raising money for Special Olympics. And it's just really a really great program that emphasizes inclusion and disability awareness. Then just some initiatives that are county-wide. So this is year 5, where we have a disability awareness poster contest, and that's for our elementary students. So elementary students across the county have an opportunity to submit an entry, and just choose to include is the hashtag you see there on the poster, but also just the theme of that. And we invite students to create a poster that reflects disability awareness and students, being inclusive. And this, the poster you see picture there was our winner from this year. And then she's also there at the school board meeting. And so March is Disability Awareness Month. So we invite the family to come, and the teacher's pictured there, and they go and make a visit to the school. And then what's really great, all of the schools in the county, elementary through high school, receive a copy of this poster to hang in their school. And then the pictures on the other side there, all the crazy socks. So March 21st was Crazy Sock Day, and recognition of Down syndrome awareness. And so across the county, people were rocking their socks that day and had a lot of fun with that. So it's just a way that the county wants to, just to recognize that we bring into schools pair different programming. Elementary school, middle schools, and high schools do displays in their library, just with books that represent a variety, disabilities. So there's little things that are woven in there throughout the year, but in March we definitely take a moment to recognize it countywide with some different initiatives.
Okay, so that concludes our general presentation. Thank you all. That was some great information. And we want to open things up now. And there has been a lot of families that have jumped on within the last 5-6 minutes. So I do want Carol, our family engagement presenter, to go ahead and make her announcement and ask that if you have a question, to put it into the Q&A, and we'll be able to see it. She'll be able to help us translate it in Spanish. So Carol, would you mind sharing your message again?
Buenas tardes. Si hay alguien aquí que necesita ayuda en español, pueden indicarlo en la sección de Q&A, o sea, de preguntas y respuestas. También pueden poner todas sus preguntas en esa sección y yo puedo traducirlas para ustedes. Gracias.
And I also want to let everybody know that has joined us. This webinar and this presentation is a general overview of our special education in Fauquier County Public Schools. So for your questions, make sure they're general questions. If they're very specific to your child and to your school, you're going to want to reach out to your school and talk to your school administrators. So I'm going to have Carol share that in Spanish as well.
Si tienen preguntas que son muy específicas o concretas sobre sus estudiantes o sus escuelas, deberán dirigirlas directamente a las escuelas de sus hijos. Gracias.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, so I'm going to stop my sharing, and we're going to open up the Q&A. And like we said, you can pop those goes in, and it looks like Carol's already taken care of some questions. Carol, would you want to go ahead and share that question with us? That is it? Is
Actually,
it
it's just the announcement that if they
okay?
need any help in Spanish, I can help them.
Okay.
That's all it
Okay.
is.
Perfect. Okay. So the floor is open to everybody. So please, if you have a question, a general question, please put it in the Q&A, and we're here. We're happy to help in whatever way we can. If there's anything that you saw in the presentation that you wanted to know more about, or even if it's a question of where do I find out more information about this? Give you a minute or two. Is there any, and as we're waiting for ideas to come up, are there any common questions that you guys get that you'd want to share? That might not have been covered in the presentation? Not really. You guys covered it all?
I'm thinking.
Everyone's being shy today.
I think sometimes parents reach out and they have questions about if they want to provide support for their student outside of school, like tutoring recommendations. And so I know on the county website, there is a list of tutors broken down by subject and grade level. But I also, if your student has an IP, so they have a case manager, they also are likely able to recommend to maybe teachers in their building or people who, they know would be a good fit to provide tutoring support. So that's a question that I sometimes get, just if there are, how to find a tutor, or sometimes if they want like an outside resource, like if they as a family decided they want to pursue outside counseling, right? But they aren't sure where to start. So I will often refer them to our school social worker, because they have a list of all types, resources that they are able to share readily, right away. So I think most importantly, like if you have a question about anything, just ask, right? Because if you don't ask, we can't help you. You don't ask, we don't know. And sometimes we don't know. And that importance of that homeschool connection is so important. And I think supporting all of our students, but especially our students with disabilities, if we can work as a team, we are always so much more successful.
Sure.
So Carol, there is a question in the Q&A that someone is asking for maybe information about summer camps. Can you see the question on your end, Carol?
Yes, I'm seeing it now. I will respond directly to him.
Okay.
Another thing, if I could give a plug for we have a transition fair, and that just happened in February this year, but that happens every year shortly after we return back from winter break. And when you were asking about summer programs, so that fair this year was really phenomenal. And Ms. Young, you could probably speak better a little bit about the whole planning, but I do know I had an opportunity to attend with our unified group, and there were many clubs that were represented there, or camps, I guess I should say, for opportunities for the summer for younger kids all the way through high school, and different like writing programs and different resources. So that fair definitely, that information, I believe it starts to being shared out before winter break, the date's set and determined, the flyer goes out, but that is definitely a great resource. And Dean Spar to the PRC would have all of that information as well. So that reaching out to the PRC would be could be helpful with that as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
and-
this
Go
was
ahead.
our first year. In the previous years, we've done transition, and then we've done resource fair. And so we decided this year we're moving in a direction of inclusion within our schools. So we decided to make an inclusion model with our resource and transition fair. And so that's why we came together for it all to be there. Liberty did a great job hosting. There were so many outside vendors there that parents could talk to. Even the people from VDOE was there for certain topics. SEAC had a table there. And then in order to bring parents in and for the children to be included with it as well, Mr. Spar had some of the unified camps there. So it was great to go in the gym and see our students playing against each other with basketball. So it just brought it all together so that it was united as an inclusion model as we're moving towards.
Yes, and it definitely had, if you were looking for anything as far as summer events or things that to do with your children during the summer, there were everything in the whole county was pretty much there. So it's definitely an event that happens every year, usually in late February, typically late February, March. Is that right, Angie and Amanda? That's typically the date. So be on the lookout for it next year because you won't want to miss it. Looks like we might have something else. Okay, so we have a question. It says, my child is only in pre-K, but curious to know if a child with special needs take the same SOL as other students. Who'd like to answer that one?
I'll take it. So if your child is on the general curriculum, then yes, they would take the SOL. If they have an IEP or a 504, there may be accommodations that the state allows that they've accessed during the classroom that they can also have on the SOLs. Some students, a very small percentage of our students, are not on the SOL track. They're not on the general curriculum track due to some cognitive weaknesses they may have. And so there is a aligned curriculum, meaning they are still SOL standards, but there's not as many and they're not to the depth of the typical standards. And so those students are educated on their aligned curriculum along with their IEP goals. And they also have an online assessment they are required to take. And also they use the accommodations that they've used in the classroom that are also provided or allowed by the state to use on that assessment as well. So SOL start in 3rd grade. So starting in the 2nd grade, they will begin those conversations to see what is the appropriate curriculum, and the IEP will be reflective of what the child needs when they are taking whatever standards they're assessing on.
Thank you. Any other questions out there? Don't be shy. And for those of you that joined a little later in the presentation, this presentation will be translated. The slideshow will also be translated, and we will be sharing all the resources that were mentioned throughout the presentation in our newsletter, as well as the website FCPS1.org. Under the community page, we've got the webinars listed. Every webinar we were able to record is on there. So we will have this recording as well as all the resources and the translated slides. So just be on the lookout if you missed some of this information that we had stated earlier. We kind of went through everything so quickly. So we'll give it just a couple more seconds, and I'm thinking we must have covered all your questions. Oh. Okay, so we've got, at what age does the school start to introduce a communication board to a nonverbal child, or what resources do they provide?
Very good question. So it really is individualized. It could be a preschool student who is receiving speech services and they may have no verbal skills. So there is data collected. The team is discussing what assistive technology may be best for that child. Sometimes assistive technology is very simple based on where the child's abilities are. When you're looking at communication board that is included on a device, for example, we have to make sure that the child has the fine motor skills to access that device. So it can start with just pictures and it can move up the ladder based on the child's abilities and what other skills they have in order to access that. But it doesn't really matter the age of the child as long as they are in our division and we're looking at having the communication, we can start that at any time. We know communication is paramount, and if we're not giving them a voice through some type of technology equipment or very basics, then we're going to probably begin to see behaviors, because behavior is a communication. So in order to minimize that, we would be looking at how and what is appropriate for the child in regards to communication. If something at a higher tech level is used with the child in school and it's effective, once the child has been able to effectively use it in the school, that device does go home. We do not just send it to you and go, here you go, try to figure it out. Our AT team will set a time and they will train you on that device. And if you're like me, you might have to see it a couple of times before you really know what's going on. So don't ever hesitate if you need a refresher, or maybe it's something you hadn't used in a while and there's a new element to it. Don't hesitate to reach out to either your case manager or the AT team. We're always there to refresh and do whatever we can with that. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Angie. And Carol, are we able to share some of this information? Are you able to text some of that information to our?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually called him and I'm
Okay.
trying to get in touch with him. So if not, I have his contact information and I will
Okay.
contact him tomorrow for sure.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Any other questions? I know we had a few people that just joined us. We are on the question and answer portion of the presentation. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we will share the whole slideshow presentation with everybody in English and Spanish, including all the links in our newsletter that goes out every other week and on Thursdays. And we will also share it on our FCPS1.org website under the community page under family webinars. But this is your opportunity to answer some or ask some general questions of our team here. So we'll give it a couple more seconds and then we'll assume we got everybody covered. Okay, well, we thank everybody for joining us tonight, and we hope that you'll join us again for our upcoming webinars in April. We
Someone
have
has their hand up.
put their hand up. So I think it was I think I saw Chelsea. Chelsea, whatever question you have, go ahead and put it in the Q&A at the top of your screen. Since this is a webinar, we have the Q&A. Okay, so she's asking about speech therapy. It's been difficult to get my child speech therapy through outpatient hospital. Do you have any suggestions, referrals, or wondering what others do in this situation?
I'll take it. All right, so private speech is up to a parent to do. However, if you are concerned with any speech, communication, language, articulation your child may have, I would reach out to your administrator at your school, and it may be possible that your child will qualify under the educational term of speech language. And if that's the case, then your child could see the speech pathologist in the building. That's an option. Some parents still prefer to have both, but you can certainly go through the process in the school system and see if your child will qualify for speech. And that would take some of the burden off of you and maybe some of the financial burden off of you from having to have speech therapy in the private setting. So feel free to reach out to your school and see what we can do for that.
I just want to give Chelsea just a couple more seconds in case she had a question she wanted to put in the Q&A. Okay, well, we appreciate everybody's time tonight, and thank you all to our presenters that volunteered your time tonight from your homes. Of course, you know we're always available. Please reach out and be looking for our recording and our slideshow and resources coming soon. Thank you all, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. And you're welcome, Marisol. right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the event. So thank you.